come along on a journey through Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Although we followed the railroad, we will see much more along the way. We are accompanied by a local resident historian who takes us on side trips and provides stories of interest. It was a fun trip, immersing in the UP. So here we go. Hello friends, KillerBee here. And I've got my traveling buddy Greg Bunce with me, which means we're on the Escanaba and Lake Superior Railroad. And in this video, we're going to explore from Channing up to Ontonagon. And also, happy birthday, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's go.
Okay, this switch is the east-west switch. This is the beginning of the O&B branch to Ontonagon. The reason it's called the O&B is because it was originally the Ontonagon and Brule River Railroad. And traditions die hard on the railroad. They keep names forever. The railroad from here to Sidnaw was built in 1892. From Sidnaw to Mass, 1889 it was finished. And from Ontonagon up to Mass, it was in 1882. They actually started in Ontonagon and came this way.
Eventually, these lines became the Milwaukee Road. The line from Kelso to Crystal Falls was built in 1900 and onto Iron River in 1914. It was abandoned in 1969. The Milwaukee Road went bankrupt in 1977, and in 1980, the Escanaba and Lake Superior took over the Channing to Ontonagon line. So Greg, where did you say our first stop is?
Kernan.
Kernan, okay.
Okay, we're at Kernan, milepost 319.4. This station has had another name. At one time it was Tolling Spur. The spur was on the north side of the track here. In fact, it ended right about where this house is over here. There was a log loading landing. And then on the other side, there was a spur that ran 1,200 feet. McLean Spur for log loading. Sometime, the siding didn't used to be here, sometime between 1918 and 1930, the Milwaukee put it in. It was originally 3,200 feet long. It ran east of here a lot farther than where the switch is now. At some time they shortened it up to 1,500 feet. The reason there's crossing flashers in the gate on this crossing, even though we're out in the middle of nowhere, the railroad, the ELS, we had more close calls on this crossing from people coming from the north, not even slowing down. We've hit more cars, or almost hit more cars on this crossing. One night in the winter back in the 1990s, my conductor and I, we were on the switch engine, and we went up to, I think, Sidnaw, relieved the crew up there, and we're bringing the train back, and there's probably, I don't know, probably 2 feet of snow on the ground. We got up to the crossing here. There was a pickup truck coming from the north, and my conductor said he's not going to stop. And I put the train in emergency, but we had probably 20 cars of pulpwood, and it's winter time, and we don't stop very well in the winter time when the shoes are full of snow. We hit his pickup truck. I swear to God, I thought we probably killed him because he hit so hard the engine actually moved, and usually you hit a car, you don't even notice it on the engine. So we stopped way past, the engine stopped way past the crossing. The conductor had to get out and walk through all that snow back down to the truck. It didn't kill the guy. He was lucky. But he smelled there was gasoline. Well, the guy had a chainsaw in the back of the truck, and the gasoline can went all over, and there was gas everywhere. So they got him to the hospital, and they couldn't figure out why he had blue paint on his forehead. Well, that night we'd had the 402 in the lead engine. And apparently what happened, it was the same shade as the locomotive. Apparently when he hit the locomotive, he went through the window on the passenger side, hit his head on the side sill on the engine, and bounced back into the cab. It was lucky. He must have had an awful hard head. And the irony of it was, he used to work for the railroad. He should have known better than not stop. But he'd been up at Way Dam Resort north of here all day long drinking, and he was drunk as a skunk when he hit the engine.
In the area is a series of dams that generate electricity. We made a short side trip from Kernan to see the Way Dam. It was constructed for the Wisconsin-Michigan Power Company in the 1940s and named after its president, Sylvester B. Way. Its construction created the Michigami Reservoir. Okay, so today is the opening day of Michigan walleye fishing season. Next stop is the site of the Mansfield iron ore mine. A mining disaster occurred here in 1893, killing either 27 or 28 miners, depending on the account. The mine shaft had been extended under the Michigami River. A cave-in occurred and the river flooded the mine. We can see some remains of the mining and also the roadbed of the former CNW line that came over from Crystal Falls at one time. Nearby is the old log church, built in the late 1800s and restored in 1987. A short distance up the road along the Menominee River is another dam, Hemlock Falls. It was completed in 1953. Some maintenance guys were there and graciously let us take a look. Getting back to the railroad, we head to Kelso, where the line to Crystal Falls and Iron River that served the iron mines once diverged off. Various maps cannot be consistent if this location was Kelso or Kelso Junction. The 1918 valuation map of the main line labels it as Kelso, but the val map of the branch labels it as Kelso Junction. A Milwaukee Road listing of stations from the 1970s labels the point as Kelso Junction, yet the 1973 employee timetable says Kelso, and even its location moved around. Regardless, there is still a siding in place here. We took a walk down to the bridge over the Michigami River. The 1892 bridge was replaced in 1951 to handle the new tonnage when the Warner Mine reopened then. The mine closed in 1958. The roadbed of the line to Crystal Falls and Iron River is just visible. So this is the remains of the section tool house. In some ties, you could still make out the 3 dating holes drilled in them, a method of tie dating the Milwaukee Road used called clock dating. Oh, like I don't see anything, so how do you see that it's a pull apart?
Because the bolts are gone.
Oh, okay.
They probably snapped off, and the flew. There's a part of them. There's some of them right there.
Popping into Crystal Falls, we see the city-owned and operated dam and power plant along the Paint River. The first part of it was constructed in 1891, and numerous upgrades have been made since. It provides about 1/3 of the city's electrical needs. Just upstream from the dam are some bridge abutments. A CNW line from the south arrived here in 1882. The track continued north, crossed the Milwaukee Road at Balsam, and ended at Amasa, reaching there in 1891. A postcard mailed in 1940 and shared courtesy of the Alpha Mastodon Historical Society shows the rail bridge in the right rear of the image. The line from Crystal Falls to Amasa was abandoned in 1937, and Crystal Falls lost CNW service in 1982.
A couple iron mines down here they served. But in order to go to Amasa, they backed up and then they had to go forward. They couldn't go straight. And then you get up here a little ways, they crossed the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee's bridge was down farther. They had a great big trestle across the river down here.
From Crystal Falls, we head north up Rock Crusher Road to the track. then hike to the bridge over Upper Holmes Lake. So we're down to 4-bolt rail, but what weight are we?
Still 112.
Signs of a derailment. Up the hill past.
Where the sunlight is?
Yeah.
They dumped hill for a week till they finally hit bottom.
Huh.
And Milwaukee had a derailment up there on the south side of the track. There's still an end of a gondola sticking up out of the water.
Where was the corduroy you were talking about?
Well, they all these back there. There's some. There's some up here.
Oh, okay.
Park siding, swamp. It's all corduroy. A lot of swampy ground.
Now define what corduroy would be.
Logs.
Oh, okay.
Laid. They pile it up under there, then brush.
How
Dump
deep?
the fill on top of it.
Oh, okay.
It spreads the weight out.
Huh. How deep down would it? Maybe a foot, like, or
no,
2 feet?
Probably farther than that. It just depends how swampy it was.
Oh.
Did it hit bottom or not? Now up at Park Siding, there's blowholes in the track where the corduroy's rotted out, and there's water in them. And when the train goes, it'd shoot up in the air.
Oh, cool. Little geysers.
Little geysers, yep. When it was first built, it was 45 spans long. It's 29 right now.
So spans were filled in on each end.
Yes. They had an awful time with keeping it in line on the bridge because it's in the bottom of the sag on both ways. So the rail would run down here, and they were constantly having to reline the bridge, the rail on the bridge all the time. They would tar the insides of the rails because of the drains from the reefers, ice reefers.
Yeah.
Because they had salt, they put salt in with the ice, and it would drip on the rail and corrode the rail otherwise. So they would put tar, spread tar on the rail. This rail's a relay.
The next road up to cross the track is WPA Road, and just beyond there is the way into Mitchell Spur. Okay, we are on Primo Creek Road, and was this Balsam?
Balsam. There's a grade right there.
Okay, and we just went by the CNW grade, so they crossed to our left.
Yes.
That's the CNW to Amasa.
Correct.
But first it went through Triangle Spur, and then
To Amasa.
came back down to Amasa. Okay, and then there was a station and
Depot was right over here in this corner.
okay.
Probably right about here. It was just a boxcar.
Looking south, the CNW grade to Crystal Falls. So you said the siding here got removed and was replaced where?
Up by Rockland, a new siding called E&LS at a rock quarry where they got ballast out of.
In the 90s?
1994.
After Balsam, we drive by the Connor Sports Flooring Plant, which makes hardwood flooring for sports facilities, dance studios, stages, and other uses. Then a look at the former right-of-way of the Milwaukee Road spur down to the Amasa Porter Mine, which operated until 1927. In 1918, a cave-in killed 17 miners. We head to Amasa on Warner Mine Road and make a visit to Warner Mine. It was closed in 1958. The ore from this mine is why the bridge by Kelso was strengthened. In Amasa, we first stop at the bridge over the Hemlock River. Once the Bates-Amasa Road went under it and crossed the river here. This was the old road to Iron River. We can turn the clock back to 1957 thanks to Greg. Just a short walk up from the bridge is town and the depot. Greg furnished a shot of his from 2002 from inside the depot, where the outside temperature had been written on the wall. From the depot we pivot and look down Pine Street.
This is Pine Street. At the very far end was the Northwestern Depot, but they had to move it a quarter of a mile farther north because the Hemlock Mine in the ground was starting to cave.
The appearance of the depot actually improved from 1986 to 1994. In town we check out where old US 141 crossed the Hemlock River. There was a cool old bridge reportedly built in 1924 and is significant as a surviving example of a concrete camelback bridge. A short distance up the track is a location called Triangle Spur.
The James River loaded chip cars here, and the cars went to Green Bay, the mill, James River Mill in Green Bay. They would load 10 a day steady. The train out of Channing for Ontonagon would bring up empties, usually 10 to 15. Take them to Sidnaw, set them out, and then when the train came back, they would stop here and switch the mill, give them empty.
Yeah, so then after the James River chip move stopped, you had logs coming out of here.
Pulpwood.
Pulpwood.
They would load CTRR rack flats and send them to Cloquet, Minnesota. And that was steady business.
But then eventually he moved down to Channing.
Yeah, because the company that bought the sawmill over here after it went bankrupt refused to lease the land here for a landing because it's all the Spur is on private property, and they wouldn't let him use it. So the guy that loaded the cars, they had to move to Channing.
Unfortunately, the chip plant shut down in 1992. At this point, the CNW and the Milwaukee Road are alongside each other. This is the Milwaukee Road seen from the CNW. Interestingly, the Milwaukee Road has already gone through Amasa and is headed north, but the CNW is in the process of looping back south to head into Amasa. Also here, the Patton Timber Company Railroad, shown in red, came down from the woods and connected with the CNW and the Milwaukee Road. As seen on Dr. Hannum's map from In the Pines, an Atlas of Michigan Logging Railroads, Volume 3. This railroad operated from 1930 to 1948. A road called The Grade, heading out of Triangle Spur, is on the old railroad right-of-way. The track is now a little ways away from the road, so it necessitated in and out drives from and back to 141. We head down Cable Lake Road for 3 miles to Park Siding. It is variously referred to as Park and Parks, both with and without an apostrophe. In 1909, a collision between a freight train and a work train killed 4 men near here.
We're at Park Siding, and the building right here was built for, it's a warming shack for the guys on the motor cars when they're patrolling track. It's on the site originally. There was a section house right here, or section in the live-in. I forget, it was like 40 by something or other. And the building sat right here. There was actually a bit of a town here, a logging community.
Greg points out where pulpwood was once loaded. The landing was where the cars are parked. And the siding is laid with 100-pound rail until just past us, where it drops down to 60 pound. And sure enough, 60-pound rail from 1889. Next stop is Tunis. A bit of wiggling around, up 141 to west on M28, then down Ford Road. As we turn off of M28, we cross the former DSS&A. It is about 7 miles down Ford Road. We were almost there and, oh crap. Well, no worries. There had been a fork in the road. So we'll go back and go the other way. This doesn't look so good either. Retreat in defeat. The only thing we got out of our efforts was seeing the trilliums in bloom. With that, we concluded our first day. Tomorrow we regroup and start at Sidnaw and go on to Ontonagon. On my way home for the night, I grabbed my favorite UP treat, a pasty, a turnover-style pastry filled with meat and vegetables. And in the UP, it is pronounced pasty, not pasty. Well, see you tomorrow, and in the meantime, you can subscribe and also link to other tours of Inactive Track. Thank you. Bye for now.